Hey guys, it's Jay here. This is Faith Evolved, where I talk about all things spiritual, philosophical, metaphysical, and mental health. But today I'm going to be talking about something a little different, and that is vaccines, and why I still haven't gotten mine yet. But not for the reason you might think. Stay tuned. All right, so you might be wondering, why am I talking about COVID again on my channel? It's been a year and a half since it started, and people are kind of getting sick of it. At this point, anybody who's, for vaccines has gotten their vaccine. Those who are against it probably won't get it unless they're forced to, like, choose between their job or getting vaccinated. So, at this point, people know where they stand on the issue. And me personally, I've decided not to get the vaccine. And it has nothing to do with, whether I agree with vaccination or not. It's for a little bit of a different reason. And clearly there's plenty of pressure out there to get it. As you can see here, just doing a quick search on YouTube, most of the videos that you see, especially the ones in the very beginning, are all pro-vaccine. You really have to go pretty far to see anything that's against vaccines. And recently an article came out that stated that anything that's anti-vaccine will probably get delisted, maybe shadow banned or even deleted off YouTube. So you have to really search for specific terms on YouTube to find anything that's against vaccines or at least questions it. So right off the bat, I'm going to say straight up that I do believe vaccines are overall a very beneficial thing and have saved lives. If you're anybody that pays attention to science and statistics, it's pretty clear that they've been beneficial. And yes, I'm aware that a lot of people have taken the vaccine and, had symptoms and felt sick for a day or two, or even some people that had adverse effects from them. But by and large, it's pretty clear that folks who get the vaccine have a less chance of dying than if they didn't take the vaccine. And anybody that's dying from COVID now, 99% of them didn't get the vaccine. So why have I not gotten the vaccine? So there's two reasons why I haven't yet got the vaccine. And I say yet because I might eventually have to get the vaccine, like say, for example, if I want to travel internationally. But right now, my job does not require me to get a vaccine, and there's no other requirements, that I need to get vaccinated to not get penalized in some way being imposed on me. So it's not a big deal. But there's two reasons. The first one is not as big of a deal. The second one I'm going to go into a lot more detail on, and that's really the main reason for this video. So reason number one is I just don't feel like it. Honestly, I don't feel the need to do it. I don't like being pressured into doing something. It's my body, my choice, as you hear some people in certain political circles say. And I'm pretty healthy. I work out, I go to the gym, I eat healthfully most of the time. I don't have any underlying conditions. I don't have heart disease or diabetes or anything else. I'm not immunocompromised. I think if I got the coronavirus, I might be asymptomatic, or it might just be like a cold or a flu for me. So that's the first reason. And the second reason is far more important to me, and I think far more impactful, and completely supersedes my first, more selfish kind of reasoning. And I'll admit that it's more of a selfish, self-serving position to have in some sense, because people say that, you should get vaccinated because you're protecting yourself and you're not a drain on the medical system if you were to get sick and go to the hospital and, use up beds and, take time away from doctors treating other conditions or whatever. Or if there's an argument for the vaccines protecting other people, which I'm not sure if I'm convinced on that one. But let's just say there was. But I think the bigger issue is, and the biggest reason why I won't get the vaccine is because, for me personally, like just what I've been through in my life, what I've overcome, it all comes down to your mind, your thoughts. Like, I do believe that your thoughts make you sick. Stress, anxiety, just all the things that we go through, weakening our immune system, and it's, science. This is scientific. Stress does cause disease. It starts in your mind and in your emotions, and when you're feeling, stressed out and depressed and anxious all the time, it's going to contribute to your body, breaking down. And, Dr. Joe Dispenza kind of goes into this a little bit. I don't think he's anti-vaccine, but he does talk about, it has many people that have overcome multiple types of conditions because they worked on themselves. They meditated and they elevated their emotions and they, de-stressed and just did all kinds of, work to take care of themselves. And they were able to kind of shut down or turn off, genes that can cause disease or lead to disease and reactivate disease, genes that can lead to healing and wellness. And that kind of goes back to a more metaphysical type of understanding that I have, is that everything that we experience starts in our thoughts, in our mind. And so there's a lot of people going around convinced that vaccines do help, and they do because it's a common belief, just like medication. And there's so many like drug trials, for example, where you find people that are given a placebo that are able to heal or get better. Or sometimes on the other end of the spectrum, you have like people that are about to go to get chemo and they have anticipatory nausea, for example, like before they even start getting the chemo. And again, I'm kind of stealing this a little bit from Dr. Joe Dispenza. But it kind of confirmed what I already kind of suspected about my own life. And you could say, oh, that's confirmation bias. Maybe. But I also have experience. I was able to overcome anxiety, depression, OCD. And also I'm like maybe 10% lactose intolerant, where I was, so lactose intolerant where if I would eat, ice cream or have cream or dairy, it would cause stomach aches and bloating and gas, and I would even get angry. It would cause me to get irritable. So I have been able to, using my mind and meditation and positive thinking and elevated emotions and just stuff that Joe Dispenza has been talking about, I have experience in that. And I know at a metaphysical level, your thoughts create reality. And if you're stressed out all the time, you're going to weaken your immune system and be more susceptible to diseases and sickness. So for me to get the vaccine, I could do it for somebody else's peace of mind, but I know for a fact that, maybe it might help a little bit, because obviously with there's environmental concerns, there's, there's chemistry in our bodies. So I haven't quite come to the point where I can, understand totally the connection between the placebo effect and, how much your mind, has control over things, and, being on Earth and in this kind of 3D realm, that there's still some kind of things out of our control in a sense, like, because we signed up for this experience of living on Earth, that we're still going to have some kind of things that we can't control with our minds, at this level. Like, I can't completely say that I'm sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I'm not going to get COVID, even though I haven't gotten sick in over a year and a half, and I experience never getting sick very often, and when I do get sick, it's quick and over with fast, and I just have, regular symptoms that people would have, for like getting a cold or getting a flu. So I'm confident in myself that the work that I've done, the things I've overcome, has led to my improvement. And that's where I think it kind of, makes sense to be on this channel, is because it does come down to spirituality in the end. This is a spiritual issue in the end, because there's people out there that honestly believe that you're selfish and that you're, a problem because you won't get the vaccine. And they pressure you and guilt you and try to even shame you sometimes, even publicly or on social media, if you even dare to, say you're not going to get vaccinated, or if you put a video on YouTube, it gets censored. And you're told that you're not scientific if you, say you don't want to take the vaccine. And I'm an INTJ. I'm a very scientific-based person. And that's why I led the video off with saying I do think that vaccines help, but I believe it helps because of where we are at our, collective consciousness on this planet, that we put so much stock in something external versus something internal healing us and changing us for the better. So, of course, vaccines work for that reason. But if you're at a level of consciousness where you realize it all starts from within, you don't personally feel drawn to necessarily taking a pill or getting a vaccine. You might feel that maybe something holistic would help you. Maybe just listening to music, doing something that you love. meditating would be enough for you. And that's how I feel for myself. And I feel like I should be allowed to have that decision. But I understand that there's people that aren't where I'm at. So that's why I don't go around and say, and there's some people on the other end of the spectrum who are against vaccines, who bash people who are taking vaccines and call them stupid or deluded or whatever, And I think that's also ridiculous. It's like, for me, it's like, and I'm not comparing, one side as being, for example, like cavemen versus modern humans that are enlightened. It's more of an example of, it's like two groups fighting each other. One group thinking the other group is a caveman, and they're the enlightened ones. So I'm sure people who are anti-vaccine might think they're the enlightened ones, and the vaccinated people are the ones who are brainwashed. And then the other way around, I'm sure, pro-vaccine people feel the same about the anti-vax people. So I'm above and beyond all that crap. I see both sides, but I have free will, and I have decided, for me personally, I don't want the vaccine. I don't feel I need it to be happy, to be well, to prevent myself from getting sick. If I took the vaccine, would it help me? Maybe. I'm not saying it can't help me. I just don't feel like it should be something that should be a political thing. I don't think it should be, something's wrong with you if you decide to get it or not to get it. I think we should see that we're all human beings. We all have our own experiences. We've been through different things and come to our conclusions based on what we've experienced in our lives. So I can't expect you to enjoy heavy metal if you didn't grow up around heavy metal and, don't have a guitar and, don't go to concerts and you don't have friends around you that enjoyed that kind of music. So it wasn't in your sphere of influence. So you instead were around people that listened to hip hop and stuff. And I don't like hip hop because I didn't grow up with it. It wasn't part of my, family and part of my culture. We were rock and roll and country and stuff like that and heavy metal. So it's like me getting upset at somebody who's into hip hop for being into hip hop because metal's superior. And clearly there's more notes being played in heavy metal and more complex drum beats and, intricate melodies and rhythms and stuff like that. Clearly it's a superior style of music than a simplistic, hip hop, which sounds like a broken sprinkler to me. But to them, it probably sounds like beautiful art. And who am I to criticize? Sure, I think the music kind of stinks, but who am I to criticize them for enjoying it? That's stupid. That's not enlightened. So I think we should be allowed to make our decisions, again, as long as our decisions aren't hurting somebody else. If they had proof that if I didn't take the vaccine and I'm a walking time bomb to walk out the door and get everybody sick, or if I had a flesh-eating disease that if I didn't get cured immediately, it would be contagious and kill everybody around me that came within 5 feet of me or 6 feet of me, certainly you're pretty selfish to say no to that kind of situation. But it's not like that. So I'm kind of rambling, but the whole point is, everybody has their reasons for why they do something and why they don't do something. It's better to try to understand them than to criticize them. Because at least if you try to understand them, you'll see where they're coming from and understand why, they made the decision they did. And then you can offer actual advice or solutions based on that makes more sense and they respect you for it. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. God bless.